All right, the next one. This one's a big one. And luckily for us, we figured this one out early because of our training experience. So there's a lot of things we learned as trainers that none of us realized would carry over to podcasting. And that's to communicate to your audience and not your peers. So there's a lot of, for example, in our space, in the fitness space, there's a lot of these science experts and fitness experts that seem to be communicating to other scientists and other experts. And so they talk at a very high level. And I can appreciate that. And if that's what your podcast is, that's a small market. But if that's what your podcast is, that's fine. But if you're trying to attract a general audience or a large audience, you don't need to communicate at such a high level. I know some people do that because it makes them feel like I'm going to convey that I'm
they're
smart.
an authority, yeah.
But you're not going to get your point across. Now, we learned this as trainers because as a trainer, I could communicate, external, abduction of the humerus or external rotation or whatever. The problem is my client has no idea what I'm saying. So we had to learn how to speak in ways that they understood. And luckily we learned that through personal training, and we were able to apply it on the podcast. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
This was a difficult learning curve. I remember by the way, this carries over into all mediums, right? So whether you're talking on social media, whether you're on YouTube, I remember when we first started doing the YouTube channel where we're putting out content and information with this thought process, the same way I communicate to my clients. And inevitably what I got was the hate from our peers, from other coaches and trainers that
science
want to,
trainers, right?
Yeah, that want to argue the point you're making or make, oh, you're dumb, you're an idiot, or why would you say that? So, and that is challenging when you're first building something like that. It's easy to get caught up and insecure about that, and then allow that to steer your content. Like, oh, I mean, next episode I do or the next YouTube video, I got to show these trainers I know my shit, so I'm gonna step it up a notch and really drop some real knowledge. And really what you're doing is you're coming from a place of insecurity because you're listening to a handful of people that are hating because you're doing something they didn't or can't. And so you're allowing them to steer your message. Focus on your consumers, focus and not on your peers.
Yeah. Can you get them to understand what you're trying to say? I'll give two examples outside of our space. Carl Sagan was an astrophysicist, and he was brilliant, but there's other astrophysicists that are brilliant, probably even more so than him. But he communicated so well to the average person that he literally motivated an entire generation of kids to want to learn about space. Milton Friedman, an economist. Like, economy's boring. But he communicated in a way where the average person understood. And he also motivated a generation of people to be interested in economics. So if you want to make an impact to the average person, remember you're talking to them and not your peers. If you talk to your peers, you lose the average person.